Hello, welcome on Horizons, episode 43 review, and things are kicking off, which is kind of nice because this episode starts off calm. Rising Vault Taxes have been restocked for the most part, as you know, Roy and Frieda haven't finished their shopping, as they're waiting to get some Wiglet Manju. So Molly telling them off, Frieda runs off to get the shopping while Roy and Liko hold down the line. You can kind of tell where things are going to go, as like Sango and Onyx have a scene where Sango's heading out to town as well. While in line, Liko sees a man struggling and she's confused what to do. Roy, however, is very aware that this is how old men can be when it comes to back pain, because he helps out with his grandpa and Ludlow. So he helped moving the cart with like Sprigatito massaging him. Turns out they've helped the manager of a sweet shop, and he gives them a box of Wiglet Manju to the kids. This kindness does backfire, however, as Sango is waiting in line with only a certain amount of boxes left, Sango being the last in line. And as Roy and Liko were given the spare, it means that Sango's out of luck. First of all, I just want to say how Sango's got to be my favourite explorer. Not that most of them being serious is bad at all, and that's actually quite refreshing after having Team Rocket for 25 years. But having someone on this antagonist group that can have moments where it's not all Explorer's business is nice. They can have fun with her and her personality, which leads to things like her gnawing on the countertop, and throwing in such an obviously intentionally funny moment where Roy and Liko walk past talking about how you got to manage without lining up because being kind of helpful is such a good thing. And then Sango saying she'll beat them up. That's really funny. Turns out Fuecoco got tagged with a letter telling them to come and meet someone at some rock. Roy recognises it as a battle request and heads off. Liko is definitely apprehensive, but she follows anyway, with Sango trying to get the Manju, accusing them of stealing him. And when they try to share with her, she gets upset at Liko opening the pack, ruining the value, and then sending out Lady to fight, leading them to remember her and have her properly reveal herself as an explorer. And what leads is pretty great, as Roy steps up to fight, while Onyx great cashes as Sango has been taking too long and stops Liko from being able to call Freed. He's actually pretty honourable and polite to Liko, but recognises it's a good chance to fight the kids from Rising Vault Tackers while they're alone. So it's Fuecoco versus Glalie and Sprigatito versus Garganackle, and definitely feels like there's a power gap with the Explorer's Pokemon, as they either tank or evade with ease, and have moves that hit back hard. Fuecoco getting frozen and the arena turned to ice will become a hurdle for them, while Sprigatito is also on the back foot as he gets cornered with Blast of Salt Cure. Fuecoco floors itself with its heat but slips around. It's cool seeing Glalie basically skating on the ice since it usually floats, but turns into a great ice top and slams Fuecoco left and right with Ice Spinner. Meanwhile, Liko gets a call back and gets Sprigatito to escape with a quick attack. But that moment after where Sprigatito hits with a magical leaf is short-lived, as Garganackle just completely grabs her and smacks her with a Salt Cure. And then they go on to collide Stone Edge and Magical Leaf, as now Sprigatito is in Overgrow range. I like that without having to directly tell us. They call back to Brassius' battle for Roy as he's thinking about what to do and looks at Fuecoco who's stomping on the ice, which is shattering it, leading to Stomping Tantrum being used to create a pillar of ice that causes Lady to launch into Garganackle. The explorers say they'll finally get serious, but it's time for them to leave as their next plans are coming into motion. And Sango very loudly says she'll be summoning Rayquaza and will catch it. She plans to stay and beat up the kids, however Onyx gets his Aerodactyl out and they leave. Liko rings Reed, who arrives shortly, and they start figuring out where the explorers are, using clues that the explorers gave them, and the hint last episode that a shady group had a building set up. I think the first thing I have to speak about here is how great Roy and Liko battling here, without any support from the adults is. Sure, it appears that Onyx and Sango didn't give it their all, but the fact that the kids are getting to a point where the explorers actually say they will go all out, it's a really good showing for them. They both make good use of things they've learned from their experiences, like Roy watching his Pokemon learn from Brassius' gym, or Liko commanding Sprigatito to modify the output of her attacks from Kabu's gym, which does give them momentary edges against these far more experienced trainers. And I'm saying all of this because if you've seen the last set of episodes, you know that's been about the kids getting stronger and more developed as trainers, so we get to see that payoff in a meaningful way. As I mentioned, I feel like Sango was a real treat. She's been the most entertaining explorer, and you can tell they had fun with her through the voice lines, the way the animators portrayed her, and just how she's been written in general. Roy and Liko inadvertently lecturing her about the benefit of sharing and being kind and everything, and her taking the absolute wrong thing out of it was incredibly funny, which is why I think the more serious Onyx being left to suffer her works a lot. I like how they snuck the Arxlani up on us, and this will lead into another conflict with the explorers and Rayquaza, and I'm very interested to see how the kids will stack up in combat here. Great episode as always.